8 years old. You know what I'm saying? But I'm getting the knowledge of our ancestors and our cultural importance and dynamics through this music, man. So it has heavily influenced my pedagogy when I speak to the youth, to be able to speak truth, to power in them, to say that you have the skills in order to be your greatest. Don't let society fool you. Don't let society devalue you. You have what it takes through our cultural knowing, through our cultural genetics. You know, we are the people we've been waiting for, man.
Right there, it would have been a nice time for the drop. Right here.
We can do this here, watch me rock the flow. Killing it a must, never optional.
Spit guys at the crab table, still ain't signed to a rap label. DVD when I ain't have cable. I got balls, he ain't rap able. A 6D for me is man fatal. Can't see me like a bad angle.
Absolutely, ain't going nowhere. We will be forever and ever and ever.
Peace, beautiful family. This is Dr. Walter Hidalgo, and this is the Know Thyself Show. The Know Thyself Show utilizes the metaphor of the shelf in order to extrapolate the self. And the way we do that is we invite guests to come in and share something about themselves. And before we introduce our guest, I just want to give a few shout out to a couple of people out there. I want to give a shout out to my brother Steve and his 2020 collections. I want to give a shout out to my brother Sister Only Love. She has her book out already, Minister Only Love, Prophetic Whirlwind. Dope book. Definitely check it out if you want to know the intersectionality between Judaism and Africa. Definitely check it out. I also want to give a big shout out to my brother Emilio and his Highly Living gear. Definitely check it out, which I highly recommend. And the next thing we do is I want to make sure I definitely shout out the website. If you're looking for any workshops for teens and adults, if you're looking for to get a copy of my book, Beyond the Four Walls, The Rising Ministry and Spirituality of Hip Hop, just go to www.knowthyself.tv, which should be right here on your screen. And with that being said, I want to also, as we always do, I'd like to give a big shout out to a group of individuals out there. And today, I want to give a big shout out to all my entrepreneurs. I want to give a big shout out to all my educators. Anybody that takes time to disseminate information to our young people. So important, right? If you want to change the cycle of your family, your friends, the world, education is one of the keys. Of course, love is the other.
Right.
Because I got here somebody with me that I love, that I respect, that I admire, and I'm so happy it's a reunion. I got here with me my brother from another, Kyle Dixon.
Give thanks, my brother. Dr. Walter.
Yes.
Dr. Hidalgo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Give thanks, brother. Pleasure to be here, man.
Honored. Kyle, it's been a minute. I'm trying to remember, as we were talking off camera, how we met, yo.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Because I don't.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I just got to New York.
Okay.
We met at an event in the Bronx. I can't remember exactly the name of the event, but it was a hip hop event. It was a community event. And it was just like we just gravitated toward each other because it was like, you know, you were hosting it, you were doing, you know, working around it, and I was new to New York, so I was just trying to get around people who were like genuine and about the community. And then I just know that, you know, there's some other people there I met as well, but you know, from the work you were doing and just the energy, brother, you know, just the complimentary energy, and just like, okay, he's on something, like he's on something huge and about the people. I'm gonna stay connected with this brother.
And see, that's ill. It must have been around the time I was doing the research. I think that's why.
It was like around maybe like 2011, 2012.
Oh yeah, I was deep into the research for sure. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's even backtrack further, because I would like to contextualize things as I always do with our guests. If we were to step into Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures and go back in time, right, into a younger Kyle, what would we see? What would we hear? Because you're originally from
Nashville, Tennessee.
Well, Tennessee stand.
Dirty South, baby.
What?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk to us about growing up in Tennessee, man. Yo, with that being said, if I'm not mistaken, rest in peace, Young Dolph.
Yes, Memphis, Tennessee.
Fact, though.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
please
definitely.
talk to us about. Hold up because I'm sorry, I get so excited. I need to learn to calm down, family. I went to Tennessee to do research down south. Part of my research was looking at social spiritual movements, which I saw Dr. King's, the civil rights movement, being one, right?
Definitely.
So I did a lot of investigation down there with people that walked with King.
Okay.
I went to where he was assassinated.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Holy ground.
Yes.
You feel me?
Yeah,
Went
hotel.
to
Yeah.
Mississippi. We were there for like a month.
Oh, wow.
Doing real in-depth research. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And Tennessee has a really special place in my heart. Talk to us about that.
Definitely, brother. Yeah, from Nashville, Tennessee originally. Speaking on the social movements of that period in time. Went to Fisk University. Graduated.
Oh, yo, history with this. Yo, shout out to shout out to my brother Dr. Larry. He went to Union with me too.
Okay.
He studied under Dr. Cone, but Fisk, he had talked highly about Fisk. I didn't know nothing about Fisk till I went to New York.
Yeah.
But super history. in there,
Super,
yo.
brother. Super. John Lewis.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Nikki Giovanni. W.B. Du Bois. Or Du Bois, some people say. You know what I'm saying? Got his undergrad at Fisk, man.
Fisk.
So huge history there, man. And growing up down south was good, man. I can't say that I did not have a good childhood. There were some things that were lacking as far as diversity, as far as ethnicity is concerned, which is what led me here to New York, mostly because I love culture, especially Black and Latino culture. I love culture, man. Love to find out more about myself. But like you said, those social movements, man, that spiritual movements down south, which helped to be the catalyst for a lot of the civil rights marches and strategies, man. Because when you're down south, man, people are more connected in the sense of gestures like how you doing today. People talk to each other, they go to each other's houses. It's more of a communal aspect to it. Not to say it's not like that on the East Coast, but it's a difference because the weather's warmer,
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You got yard space, so I'm used to having like space to play, backyard football, friends down the street. I grew up in a somewhat middle class neighborhood, so I had multiple black families. I mean, I could name off easily 15, 20 black families in my neighborhood. Easy. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, and we got people living on top of each other and don't know their next door neighbors. Yo,
Bro, I knew my neighbors. You know what I'm
Wow,
saying? I knew
wow.
my neighbors, man. So that part, you know what I mean? Like, but growing up, man, it was. I'm thankful I had parents who allowed us to study and encourage education. They were not originally from down south, but we had family down south. They were connected, but just having that different experience, man. So like as a Southerner, it was really just about how much do I need to know in order to really be productive in the world. You know what I'm saying? I got my basis, I got my roots, as they say, the roots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In Nashville, being the capital of Tennessee, Memphis, being a majority black populated city. I think Memphis is over 70% black.
Yeah.
So it's a difference. So Nashville is a
Yeah.
little bit of it's more, I'll say probably about 6% white, the rest other, whereas Memphis is 70% black. So it's a difference. So Nashville's country music, Memphis is blues.
Facts.
You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
But the Music City, for people don't know, the Music City is named after the Fisk Jubilee Singers. People think it's country music.
Facts,
No,
yes.
it's the Fisk Jubilee Singers when they went to England, I believe, and the Queen said, "Y'all sound so great. You must come from a musical city." So that's how the term Music City came to be with Nashville, through the Fisk black men and women singing, helping to raise money for Fisk University.
And it's very interesting. I'm hearing you talk because we think Tennessee and Memphis being like a music mecca,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Elvis gets overshadowed with that, but we forget about
Right.
other notable people that came out of there.
Yeah.
And but what I think it's very interesting about Tennessee, and like I mentioned, that's where Dr. King got assassinated. That's where the garbage workers organized, because it was an economical movement that was happening. How much of that has influenced you in your life, coming from this gumbo of justice?
That's a great question, brother. I never realized how much it affected me till after I left, because after I left, I went to Chicago. I have a lot of family there.
Shout out to the Shy, yo.
Shout out to the Shy.
Word
Southside,
up.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of grassroots movements there as well.
Facts,
but,
yeah.
you know, that connection, direct connection to Mississippi.
That's right.
Lot,
Yeah,
you know.
the migration north of a lot of people.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that great migration. So, but yeah, man, I didn't realize how much it influenced me until after I left, because there was so much history in Tennessee that they really didn't teach us in the schools, and that's what I just mentioned earlier.
Irony,
brother.
condition. You know, it's
Yes.
straight systematic. They're doing that. Yeah.
Definitely. So it wasn't until after I left, I was like, oh, the importance of John Lewis, oh, the importance of the Freedom Riders and the sit-in movements and things like that. We knew of it, but it wasn't the impact, like the differences they really made for us to have the influences and have the resources that we had growing up. You know, my parents knew definitely a lot, and people around me knew a lot. But again, to ask those direct questions, be like, yo, I want to know about this. And then, you know, sometimes it's not sometimes the answer, but the right type of question to ask to be able to extract that information.
That's right.
Because some of it was traumatic too.
Facts,
a lot.
yes.
You know, my parents lived through that. You know, they went to Tennessee State, which people know in Tennessee.
Oh.
You know, they went to Tennessee State University, another HBCU, which is down the street from Fisk.
That's right.
Meharry is right across the street from Fisk. Then you got American Baptist College.
Oh, that's right.
So you got 4
Yeah.
HBCUs.
That's right.
In Nashville. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So, you know, John Lewis, ABC, that's all that, it was a part of the civil rights movement. So, you know, them coming up through that and seeing that, man, and just the pride. It was just more so like, stand up straight, you know, walk with pride. You know, like we're here for a reason. We're here for a purpose. So like those influences, man, like I didn't know it then, but when I look back and I see how my family related to certain things, certain news and certain events, and just it gives you that pride. But on top of that, hip hop too. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. That's right, and that's how we connected through the
Yeah.
hip hop circuit. How much has hip hop influenced a lot of your pedagogy and what you do?
Oh, my brother. It has definitely hugely influenced my life and my pedagogy with my teaching style. You know, it allowed me to again, that diversity I was looking for. Because I didn't know who Malcolm X was until they did Self-Destruction.
Wow.
I did not know
Wow.
because, again, down south, Dr. King, which is beautiful.
Respect. Yeah.
But, you know, that balance, man. So I didn't know that till I saw him, and I asked my parents, like, yo, who is that man they talking about? My parents like, oh, that's Malcolm X. Who's Malcolm X? Oh, well, let us tell you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I got into vegetarianism because of KRS-One through hip hop.
Shout out to the God, Chris.
That got me into
Yes.
health, you know, wellness, which connected me with the Nation of Islam. You know, so
Shout out to the NOI. For
yeah,
real.
man. So all those influences, man. Wordplay. I still know Stisasana, known by Africa, AFRCA, Angola, Zowito, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Zambia, Mozambique, and Botswana. So let us speak about the motherland. I still remember that. I'm 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? But I'm getting the knowledge of our ancestors and our cultural importance and dynamics through this music, man. So it has heavily influenced my pedagogy when I speak to the youth, to be able to speak truth, to power in them, to say that you have the skills in order to be your greatest. Don't let society fool you. Don't let society devalue you. You have what it takes.
Yeah.
Through our cultural knowing, through our cultural genetics. You know, we are the people we've been waiting for, man.
Speak on it. How do you see the culture now?
I see the culture going through definitely a growth period, which, you know, for better for worse, it can, you know, growth can look messy.
Yeah.
It can look
the
real
growing
messy.
pains. they
Growing
say.
pains.
Yeah,
it can
yeah,
look
yeah.
real messy, man. So I still have hope in the culture because the culture's from us. But it's in a messy period right now, man, as far as what is deemed hip hop. You know, I think we're letting people outside of the culture dictate the culture more than we did before. And I think that's to our detriment. But I think we're slowly but surely recognizing that and trying to get it back on track, because we're trying to get back on track.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So, you know, I really have hope for it because I have hope for us.
I'm trying to remember. Shout out to Matt Hoffa. He has my expert opinion. Yo, shout out to the guy.
Shout out to Matt, man.
Great. They're doing great over there.
are
I'm
doing
loving
wonderful
it.
work,
I
yeah.
forgot who it might have been. I forget what DJ they were interviewing. And this DJ said that the number one thing the hip hop is missing is the education piece. What's hip hop pedagogy?
For me, hip hop pedagogy, man, is coming from a perspective of hip hop, with not just with peace, love, unity, and having fun, but you know the graffiti, you know what I'm saying, the DJing, you know, the lyrics, the b-boying, the body movement, you know, even the fashion, the word, you know what I'm saying, like all that encompassing, man, that's part of this culture that we call hip hop. high infinite power helping our people, helping inspire people. You know what I'm saying? Like the acronym of that, which I got from Brother Karis One. Shout out to him. Man.
Of course,
you know
yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? But like for me, it is really a mechanism, a tool, a cultural tool to help us to get into coming out to our divine selves, to recognize these aspects of our nature, and to help to cultivate it. You know, whatever that is, the expression is going to be different because, you know, we're individuals, we're unique people. So that's the beauty of it. You may say one rhyme, but you or I may say it totally different ways with a totally different cadence, and be able to recognize that and celebrate that and value that for the next generation to do it even better.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, we talk a lot, you know, as educators, as you are, about multiple intelligences,
Yes.
right? How people express, you know, their intellectualism, right? And all play equal value. None is above. And now, particularly in a digital visual era, that's a lot of what the expression of the intelligence is that we're seeing. It's a dominant force right now, but it's one that we shouldn't take, you know, for a weakness or for lightness, for that matter, because it's something that's really taking them to the next level.
Indeed.
Speaking of that, I want you to talk to us about Precise Minds Inc. What is that about? Talk to us about that.
Yes, sir. So Precise Minds Inc. is a company I co-founded with my good brother, great friend, Corey Smallwood. We started in Chicago back in 2005. And we were inspired, man. We went to Fist together. And we were, you know, those late nights in the dorm room, having those ideas, being inspired by people like Spike Lee.
Shout out to Spike,
you know, Julie Dash.
Yes.
Who else, man? Just all these black directors, man. You know, Gordon Parks, Melvin Van Peebles.
Now we see what Tyler Perry, what he's doing, creating that mecca down in Georgia.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, much respect to Tyler Perry. You know, much respect to him. Not a fan of all of his.
That's a different combo. Me too. I concur.
But respect for the brother.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, for what he's doing. And but a lot of inspired by hip hop, and just saying, hey, I think we want to do something, man. We want to do something, create our own thing. And you know, my business partner was in California, like hustling on film sets and doing grunt work internships. And then he came back and said, man, I think we need to start a film production company, man, media. You know, because in school we were on the radio station. So WFSK 88.1 FM, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out, that's dope.
Shout out, man. So, you know, he was one of the program directors for a short time. I had a show. And, you know, we want to take that same energy, man, and put it into our own thing. So we started Precise Minds because we want to educate, we wanted to inspire, and we want to let people know that we have a plan. You know, so we have a plan to not only educate but entertain at the same time, man, with like films and media that helps people think, that helps give something that you want to talk about, you want to discuss, because that's what the films that we were inspired by helped us to do. Whether it was urban, whether it was romantic, whether it was action, whether it was romance, let's say, whatever the case may be, man, we wanted something that had integrity, man. And we wanted to be able to put our voice into that diaspora of voices, you know, black voices, man.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's so needed now. We talked a lot about the healing aspect that is needed, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As we always do in the Know That Shelf podcast, we invite guests to share something from their shelf.
Yes,
Kyle,
sir.
what you bring for us today?
Well, I brought two things. They're both related. I bought a Coma Day, right? A Coma Day Guide to the Sacred Science of Soulmating. Yes. So this book is from two of my master teachers, Mansho and Nwasha Idu. They have been very integral in a lot of my foundational knowing currently in reference of relationships, not just with other people, but with self. And, you know, that book right here is just a representation of the great work they're doing in the community. They're based out of Trenton, New Jersey.
Shout out to Jersey,
New
Brick
Jersey.
City.
Yes, sir. So they based out of there. And they're therapists for 21 years, been married for 20 years. And they're just doing great work, brother. And they're sharing their knowledge on not just their idea of therapy practices, but the cultural community understanding of who we are and why relationships are so important, man. And I just want to be able to shout them out, man, because they have definitely given me some tools to be able to navigate my own emotional awareness and education, but also how to do that with other people too.
Yeah. I think this is so amazing because we were talking off camera with Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club. Shout out, who had that shirt that said heal, right? And there's so much healing that is needed in our communities. You know, we've seen what happened with the hip hop culture. We've seen what happened with other folks and people. We don't really discuss a lot of the nuances and intricacies of family. You know, not all families are made the same.
Right.
You know, and who's the first people to show us love is our immediate family. And if that love is not expressed the best way, that's what we're gonna duplicate and show to the next person.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting. I look at this, and as we're getting older, right, I think, as cliche as this sounds, it's so true. But if you do not love yourself, it's so difficult to love somebody else.
Yes, indeed, brother.
That's the number one thing. What's really going inside you, right? Because I think there's two things that expose who we really are in this life: the relationship you have and the business ventures that you do. Because entrepreneurship is an adventure.
Yes.
It's a venture, and a partnership is a venture too.
Yep.
A joint venture.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So how we move and operate in those two dynamics, and if you're blessed enough to merge both. If you notice, those that merge the relationship and the business, even though they say don't mesh them together, right?
Right.
But if you do find that partner, woo, golly, to the next level, right?
Yes,
how do you heal, yo?
Great question, bro. That's a great question because, you know, we talked about, again, like I said, off camera about healing practices and things like that. And I just have grace with myself. I've learned to have grace and patience with myself. And I do a number of things for like self-care. Like I go for walks in the park.
Super important.
Yeah, just to kind of get my mind kind of just at ease with certain thoughts and ideas that I have. I walk around the city. You know, I'm in New York, so I walk around the city too. I do meditation.
Yes.
You know, and meditation is just not like sitting there and like you know, when I run, that's meditation.
Yeah, driving is super facts.
Very much so. When I have my car.
Well, now you can rent cars, right. 2 rows. Shout out to 2 rows.
Yeah, shout out to 2 rows. Yeah. But when I did have my car, I would do that too.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I set time enough to just kind of be sometimes. Not have my phone on, not have the TV on, and just sit quietly for a minute, which is also kind of part of meditation.
Yeah.
But also being around people who I get energy from, who I get positive reinforcement from. That's also a part of like my healing too. You know, watching comedy, man. Stand-up comedy.
Why doesn't more people say that?
That was a major part of my healing too. I cannot not acknowledge that. Watching comedians, Martin Lawrence, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle.
Geez, legends.
Even guys like John Malascalco.
Yes.
Him, him. Even old school guys, Robin Harris, Robert Townsend. You know, T.K. Kirkland. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of various people, man. Like comedians, because I love to laugh. I love to be in good spirits. But it just releases those endorphins, man, and that helps to heal and help to say, wow, they're going through a lot. I'm not alone. That's
a fact. And it's interesting. I always tell people, I remember watching the news, there was a lady that interviewed a guy that was a centurion, right? Turned 100.
Yeah.
And they asked him, what's your secret? He said, it's 2 things. I take a shot a day. I'm not advising. Drink responsibly.
Yeah.
And the second thing he said is that I make sure that I smile.
Yes, sir.
Like the energy and the power that comes in laughter and in smiling,
Mm-hmm.
You know what power comes in? And this is another thing, God, I'm getting excited and I'm getting a little emotional myself about this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can smile throughout the pain, ooh, you are on another level.
Yes.
In the midst of jealousy, anger, the world falling, and you're still smiling, ooh, you're on another level.
Yeah.
On another level.
Yes.
And that takes a lot of healing, a lot of practice.
Yes, it does.
You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that you said laughing because it's funny, we were talking about COVID, right?
Right.
And there was, I would say, 2 things that helped me during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Hip-hop Because when I was listening to those lyrics, like you go back to the Rolodex and you hear those rhymes, and I still get the it makes it feel like takes you away, you know. And then comedy does, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm a big advocate of meditating and clearing your head. Because you mentioned Chicago, I got shout out to Common. He has a line that says, "You got to do more deleting and less saving. Do more deleting and less saving, because we're like computers.
Yeah.
The more you let go, the more new things you let in.
Yes.
So I think those elements of meditating, of walking, every spiritual person, if you dive deep, stepped away from the world for a little bit. You gotta step away. That's what a retreat means, to step back.
Yes.
You gotta step back from and us living here in New York, there's so much noise, so much distraction, so many billboards, so much noise pollution, so much people pollution, respectfully. But it's like you need that time to step away and recharge the battery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got a birthday coming up.
Yes,
I always tell people there's 2 times where I always reflect heavily.
Yeah.
My birthday and New Year's. Because it's Earth's birthday.
It is.
Right?
Right.
And our birthdays are coincide with each other, meaning like it's a time to respect, right? Step back. Where are we earthly wise? Where are we humanly wise and what we're doing? So I think that's dope. I ain't trying to preach too long. What's the other thing that you brought in for us?
Man. So I brought this feather, man. I brought this feather, my brother.
Birds of a feather.
Yes, sir. And that feather is in regard to the book as well, and the spiritual journey that I'm on. Is that feather is a representative of Kemetic, Egypt, Kemetic principle. Exactly, bro.
Speak on it.
Yeah, so the feather family representing the heart, representing the lightness of the heart, the lightness of your being. So when you talk, when you move, when you act in certain ways, the feather is to remind you to stay light of heart. Like you said, more deleting, less saving, right? All these burdens, all these worries, all these fears. Find a way to let that reside, let it go, let it pass through. Don't hold on to it, because the baggage doesn't get lighter as we get older, it gets heavier. So this is a reminder in the spiritual sense of a journey to, you know, they say that when we, the folktale is that when you transition, they weigh your heart on the scale, and if your heart is heavier than the feather, then you got
you ain't make it.
Yeah, you ain't make it. But if it's lighter, then you've done the necessary work in order to transcend into the spiritual realm. So the feather for me is a reminder, man, when I'm speaking to people, when I'm speaking to myself, to be light of heart, to have patience, to have grace, to have compassion. That doesn't mean be a sucker. That doesn't mean to negate the negative. It says acknowledge it, but don't let it hold you back. Don't let it hold you down.
Yeah.
Use it as a tool to recognize where you can improve and lift up.
Yeah, and because, see, it goes back to, again, what we were talking about, the idea of, like, if you can't love yourself, if you don't respect this creation that God made that is you, it's very difficult for you to acknowledge all the other things that God has created amidst, you know, where you're walking in this earth, like you went the way you're navigating and everything. And I'm hearing you talk, and it's like, yeah, immediately when you pull the feather, I'm like, oh, you're gonna go Kemetic. And that's why, if you notice in my car, I got the feather too.
Yes.
And it's a spiritual symbology even amongst our Afro-Indigenous communities.
Indeed.
Because the feather, it also, on the flip side, it's how high are you elevating yourself? Because the feather is from the birds, and how high are you elevating yourself?
The air element.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's, again, it goes back to, like, what's the saying go? A life not examined is not worth living, right? From that philosophy too. That it comes like we have to do self-exploration before we invite someone else to explore with us. Right. You know, we have a lot of trauma. Yeah. We have a lot of healing that needs to be done, you know? And even if you do find the greatest relationship on the world, if you still are not right for yourself, it's just going to hinder that person.
Indeed.
And that's why a lot of people, relationships don't end up working out, because it's not even because of everybody else. It's because of you.
Yeah, man.
It's you, it's I.
Yeah.
And it's like, you start to wonder, and you're like, oh man, maybe it's really me. You know, and that's and you have to self-explore that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think we all need to do that.
Yeah.
You've already mentioned this, Kyle, but I want to know, as somebody that is an educator, someone who is super conscious and aware, someone who has gone through what I call internal migration. You know what I'm saying? From down south to Chicago, New York.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give to that young person that's trying to follow your path?
Trust self, man. Trust and love self. You know, like, I didn't know what coming to New York would open up for me. I had an idea, but you never truly know. But I had to trust myself and I love myself enough to say, I believe in the effort. I believe that things are going to work out. And I trust that people are going to look out for me because I'm going to look out for myself. And I know that sounds very simple, like that's it, but it really is sometimes that simple because sometimes I had doubts. I'm not going to front. I still have them. But I also have faith and trust and believe that if my intentions are good and they are thought through, that I think things will work out for the best. I just truly believe that. I walk in that way. It's not the fact that I don't worry. It's not the fact that I don't think, well, this could go wrong, this could go wrong. But then I'm like, well, what could go right? What could go right? As much as I'm spending energy on the negative, I try to be intentional enough and be cognizant enough to be like, what can be on a positive? What happens if things go well? What am I going to do then? Am I going to appreciate it? Am I going to run from it? You know, like, because just as people say fear of failure, there's also fear of success.
Yeah. Ooh. Oof.
You know?
Yeah.
So I would say to my younger self and those trying to follow my path, trust and love self. Once you delve into that, things are possible. Are things going to go exactly where you want to? No. But have the trust and love in yourself that you will figure it out, and you will have people around you that will help you figure it out.
And I'm realizing I'm listening to you because as we've gotten older, it's like, if there's one thing I learned, be very specific about what it is you want.
Mm-hmm.
So much of us have an idea of success, or I want this, but it's we're too much genie in the bottle situation, because I've dealt with that. One of the things, when I was going through it in life, I'll never forget, it was 3 things I asked God. And I don't know if I shared this publicly, but at the time I was in Rhode Island, I wasn't happy, I was depressed, moved back home, not a great idea, and I needed to get out. Mm-hmm. And I asked God 3 things. I said, God, I want to move to New York, go back to school, and travel the world. Wow. And you know me. Yes. And I've done that and more.
Yes.
Boy, what a journey. It wasn't all that great.
Yeah.
I've suffered a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty and stuff that came along with it, I can't even express to you. If I had known now what I know, I would have been like, I want to live in New York, upstate, in this area, because you know what I mean? Yeah. So I could bypass a lot of the drama and the bull that I went through. But that's part of the learning process. That's what makes us become human.
Yes.
Human.
Yes.
It really refines us and molds us. I'll never forget when somebody told me that, when we're born, we start like a blob of clay. Mm-hmm. And then as we get older, God starts molding us into what He wants us to be. Mm-hmm. Kyle, if people want to find you, get connected with you, because I also don't want to forget about your Grand Rising Collective podcast. Yo, please talk about your podcast.
Yes, indeed, man. So, I love podcasts. That's why I'm on this podcast. But I have my own podcast, Grand Rising Collective. Started with another colleague, good friend of mine, Kaide Bentley, who's an entrepreneur educator. We started back in 2019, and based on the premise of community. I'm all about community, all about seeing other people progress, especially our Black and brown folk. And he was in certain circles doing certain things. I was in circles meeting brothers like you and other people who are doing dynamic work in the community, and I want to be able to celebrate them. And I'm like, how can I pull other people in? Because I just don't want to be about me. I'm not a look at me type of person. I want to get my respect,
sure,
and I want to get my acknowledgement, but I know other people need that too, because there are other people that exist that I'm having these conversations with, and I'm like, I'm having these dope ass conversations with people, and I'm only privy to it. I want other people to be privy. So I started inviting people from like entrepreneurs to doctors, financial consultants, educators, politicians, mental health and wellness practitioners. So I'm putting all of them on because I'm like, you all have to know these people exist, and they have a lot of valuable information to share to get you over those difficulties and challenges and obstacles. So Grand Rise Collective is the collective. It is to say that we are rising to the occasion. Grand Rising is a morning gesture. Wake up in the morning, start the day off right. Grand Rise, we're going to rise to the occasion of your obstacles and challenges. And also, we're a collective. We do this in a communal effort.
Right. What is the collective voice you're hearing?
Oh, man. That we are more than we think we are. Meaning that we have more, as I like to say, we have more in the tank than we know. We have more in our ability to do things for ourselves, by ourselves, and for others than we think we are capable of.
To really tap into our fullest potential. And you know what's interesting? I love that you say that, because whenever I coach young people, particularly when I'm talking to the parents, I tell them, I am not here to fix your child. That is not my job.
Yeah.
I'm here to make them the most authentically realist versions of themselves.
Yes.
You already got it in you. You just don't see it because you're so caught up in the superficial, where your friends think and other things, TV, that you don't really go enough inner you to find out who the outer you is really about.
Correct.
And I hear you, and I hear the same thing coming out of that. You know what I'm saying?
So within as without. Man.
Exactly. Within we go without.
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I mean? So Kyle, if people want to reach out to you for your services or to connect with you, build with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, sure, great. Yeah, they can definitely reach out to me on the Grand Rise Collective podcast, the YouTube channel. We're on the YouTube, and that's Grand Rise Collective at gmail.com. I also have my Instagram, DIX_KYLE. You can reach out to me there for consulting. I do tutoring. I do media professional services. Through Precise Minds, of course. Also, in regard to maybe being on the show or just in general, those are the places you can reach me. But also definitely want to give a shout out to my other collective, Bukido, man.
Oh, okay.
Definitely, because that's the hat I have on. If you see, it's in Dinkra symbol, West African and Dinkra symbol, Dwiniman, Dwiniman, which is the ram's horns, and it's a symbol of strength and humility.
And I'm an Aries, the ram.
Yeah,
that's deep.
You know what I'm saying? See, no coincidence.
Exactly. Yeah.
No coincidence. So definitely want to get a shout out to that because we're another collective where we're into art, we're into commerce because we sell shirts online, we shirt gear online, dealing with like HBCUs and just our personal interest and whatnot. But yeah, they can reach me on those two platforms, man.
Yeah.
Garage Collective at Gmail. My Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well. I'm in the community, man. I'm based in Harlem right now, but I'm all you'll see me in Harlem, Brooklyn.
Facts.
Queens.
Yeah, you all over.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And you're in this space right now, and I meant not to hop back and forth, but for that person that is trying to figure it out relationship wise, you're doing the knowledge now.
Yeah.
What's that one piece of advice you would give that person?
Wow. I would just say that, like you mentioned earlier, it's not them, it's you. The more you focus on you and what you truly need, and you're able to articulate that, the more you can be able to converse with your partner, your mate. Yeah. And the one thing we talk about in the school, because it's a class I take called the Black Love School.
Oh, that's lit.
Yeah, man. It's
Black excellence. Shout out, Black love for real, man.
Yes, bro.
Word up.
And we talk about like certain words, like I never liked the term "settle down," right? Like I never really liked that term because for me, we're very. I can see that in both of us. We're both energetic. We're purposeful. So to settle down for me is kind of like I'm kind of my energy is low. Like I'm settling down. Like I'm not moving. So we create another term called mating up. Yeah, because if you get with your mate, they're supposed to energize you. They're supposed to help you to get onto or stay on your purpose.
That's right. So
when you get with that right mate, like you mentioned earlier, they're going to enhance what you already do. And let's say you're like, well, I don't know what my purpose is. Your purpose is your purpose. You're already working in your purpose, even if you know you're not working in your purpose, because it's going to eventually lead you to your purpose if that's what you're conscious of wanting to know. And that person is going to help to get you to that point. if you're already in that mindset. But if you're looking for them to make you happy, to make you whole, I would heavily advise against that type of thinking, because you're looking for somebody, again, outside of yourself to give you something that's already, like you said, inside of you.
And that's so deep, because that's probably the biggest problem. Relationships don't last because we look for other people to fill voids. You got to fix those voids beforehand, because you're just digging yourself into a deeper hole. If anything, you just invited somebody else to shovel it for you. Right. Yo, let's be real about that. So you have to really heal thyself before you bring someone else into the equation. Correct. And I think that's so important with relations. We don't, it's interesting, and I don't want to go off tangent, but it's like, I think we talk a lot about what's missing in the school systems, but we need relationships 101 somewhere in there, yo. Somewhere in there, about how to treat someone else, how to look at someone else, how to courtship. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Super important. Just little things. And you don't have to be perfect with it, because I understand, young person, that you're figuring it out. Hormones is going crazy. Definitely. Like your identity issues and things, right? But if we can get them early, I never had nobody. Sorry, Dad, I'm gonna say this, but the only advice I got from Dad was carry at least 2 condoms. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never had nobody really say, I mean, I grew up in a conservative Catholic Christian home, and they did the best they can. They did great. I love my parents. I'm super grateful, But I didn't, because of vulnerability. We talked about fear, and someone going to judge me.
Right.
We need those open spaces, particularly for men.
Yes, we do.
Men of, I hate these terms, color, but men, right? To have these conversations, so that when we don't even know when something's good that's in front of us, because we're so damaged.
Yes, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So let me stop. I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean? But I'm so happy that you shared that you're in this space. Yes, Kyle, I am so proud of you, brother.
Thank you, bro.
I tell that to everybody.
Thank you, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Of who you are, the energy you are, the being. I see God's light shining on you, kid.
It's reflective.
I really do.
Hey,
I see it.
It's reflective.
And I got to call it out as it is. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, brother. Sante.
As we always do, on the Know Thy Shelf, we end with a quote. And this one's from an anonymous person, and it reads as such. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving forward. Peace, family.
Just like that. That was beautiful, brother.